Sure, it's great when someone buys your course, but if they never implement it, what's the point? This is where gamification or gamified learning comes in. Let's talk about how to gamify training. Gamification can mark the difference between someone whizzing through your training at lightning speed while singing your praises on social media and someone buying your training and never looking at it again. But why? What's the number one thing that makes gamification powerful? We'll get to that in a minute. I also want to tell you the 2 factors you need to keep in mind before gamifying your training, because you're not just going to gamify for gamification's sake. And by the way, I discovered the power of this whole gamification thing by repeatedly overwhelming my audience and not getting the ROI I wanted. If you want to know the moment that changed everything and why from now on I'm always going to include gamification in everything, I'm going to share that entire story with you. Gamification is basically incentivizing your audience for their engagement. It's especially useful to bring out some healthy competition in your students and motivate them to take the next steps and get the results that they want. It's especially helpful for people who are really achievement-oriented to push them towards achieving their goals. Gamification is everywhere. You've probably seen it or even participated. You know, the Starbucks loyalty rewards, Boy and Girl Scouts, they earn badges, lots of fitness apps including Nike, Gamify, consistency in fitness. It's everywhere. Gamification creates habits. And if you can install habits into your customer's life, you will have a customer for life. By the way, I have a whole video about gamified learning that's linked in the description below, so you can go check that out if you want a more in-depth description of gamified learning. And in addition to that, I have a ton of other content about gamifying, about selling high ticket, about getting incredible results in ROI for yourself and your audience, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. The big thing you want to consider is, what is your audience's customer journey? So I think of this as like the yellow brick road for your audience. You know they want to get to Oz. What are the milestones in between? What are the things that they can achieve that you can also gamify? You can tag on an incentive or a reward for them to achieve that thing. Some examples of how you can gamify: you can give them some virtual badges, a virtual high five. You can even give them physical products. One of the things that we do inside of our programs is we have pins or shirts or other kind of swag things for when they achieve that milestone. We go, here's, your prize, your reward. So it's almost like that dangling carrot to get them closer to their results. Because here's the thing, how many of your customers, or even yourself, I know I'm guilty of it, have you ever bought a course and never implemented it? Or you had these grand ideas that you were going to complete this big goal and you just kind of fell off of it? Well, the same thing happens for your customers, that there's distractions in the world or in their family or life, whatever. Life gets in the way. But if you can give them some incentives that it's like, hey, once you do this, and even lean into the difficult things, and here's the prize that you're going to get when you overcome that, your customers are going to have so much more motivation to getting to that point. So what I do when I'm creating my programs is I reverse engineer the outcome. I think of, what's the customer journey? If we're looking at the yellow brick road to Oz, what are the steps in between that are going to get them there? Now, you don't want to have too many milestones. You don't want to overwhelm them with things. That was a mistake that I made, is I was like, here's all this information. But you give them some simple steps, some simple outcomes or milestones to overcome, and that's the points where they can then earn something in exchange for their efforts. The number one thing that makes gamification so powerful is FOMO. Have you heard of FOMO before? Fear of missing out. When the audience sees other people winning or progressing ahead of them, their friends, their peers, they don't want to get left behind. They don't want to miss out. They want to join the club. It installs habit. When your customer is in the habit of consuming your content, being part of your community, they're going to want to sign on for anything that you create in the future. You launch a new product, you have a new service, they're already in all this know, like, and trust with you that they're going to want to continue taking that customer journey with everything that you have to offer. The FOMO also creates this friendly competition among others. Inside of my group, the VIP code, which stands for Video Impact Profit, we've gamified the entire system, which is so fun. We actually give them these shiny pins that they can put on their lanyard, kind of like at Disney World when you can earn and collect pins. They collect pins based on their achievements and based on their outcomes. We put out a VIP list every week in the Facebook group where we list out the people who are on the leaderboards. Now, what this can create is this friendly competition and also the fear of missing out, that they want to see their name on the VIP list. They want to continue to see momentum and earn that progress by earning their pins. Your members are going to want to be rewarded for their efforts and be recognized by their peers. So think of how you can install this into any of your training. One of the unexpected things that was such a huge highlight of gamifying our courses was that people are so proud to show off what they've earned. Guess what? They post about it all over their social media. They do unboxings where they can open up their swag or their pins or the things that they've earned. And guess what? When they show it on their social media, that's going to reflect back to you. It's like they're promoting what you do at the same time that they're showing off, look what I've done. Every time that they're promoting their status as they're earning their awards and rewards inside of your gamification program, they're also elevating your status. So there's two factors to keep in mind before gamifying your training. The first one I kind of mentioned when I was talking about the yellow brick road is that you want to reverse engineer the outcomes of your training. This is going to help you to establish the milestones and every single step towards that big outcome, so then you know where you can gamify your training. Each milestone should be a clear marker towards moving them towards the outcome. For example, inside of my program, the VIP Code, we have milestones created for every set of videos that they film, so that we're encouraging them to keep creating their videos that are then going to lead them towards impact and profit. So they get a pin for every time they create that new set of videos, and they get their name on the VIP list, which gets them awarded, rewarded, and recognized. The second factor is to determine the biggest obstacles for your audience. What are the biggest challenges that they're going to overcome? Where are the parts where they're going to get those mindset gremlins that might say, I can't do this, or I don't know? And usually it's something about time or tech or talent. If you can recognize those places as you're creating your milestones, if you can attach some sort of reward or award, some way to gamify it, that's going to help them to overcome those hurdles. Like any video game, if you think of Super Mario, the hardest level is the one where you have to beat the biggest boss, right? But the reward on the other side is worth the effort. When we can recognize the parts in the curriculum that are challenging, we actually lean into that. We'll acknowledge for our audience, hey, you know what? Yes, this is hard. Lean into it, because you know what else is hard? And we'll give an example of other things that are other obstacles, but showing that this is the pathway to get to this obstacle. And we give them that dangling carrot to say, listen, when you get on the other side of this, this is going to be the result in your life, in your health, your wealth, your relationships, your business, whatever the training is that you're teaching. But I'm also going to give you this t-shirt or this pin or this whatever kind of thing to help them to overcome that hurdle and overcome the mindset block. We actually call this wedge content that myself and my team, as we're creating the curriculum, we know this is a part that people might get stuck at. So for example, filming videos. That can be difficult for my clients. And so we have a lot of really cool mindset training in there and a lot of great examples and social proof to show, hey, if you do this, you could get this result. You could be just like this person, and I'm going to give you this shiny object. And we kind of joke about that to say, don't get shiny object syndrome, because I'm literally going to send you this shiny object. Kind of funny, and you should try it. So now that I've introduced some gamification concepts, I want to hear from you. Do you already have gamification in your programs, or have you participated in some kind of gamification, whether it was Starbucks loyalty rewards or Nike fitness app? I'd love to hear from you. What gamification sequences have you been a part of that you really enjoyed? Because then we can all get some ideas, be able to support each other and collaborate in creating our own. Discovering gamification was a huge epiphany for me. I'll tell you from my personal experience, I always wanted to over-deliver for my audience, but unknowingly, I was overwhelming. And it's crazy. There's a fine line between overwhelming and over-delivering. I used to offer my clients just everything I know on the topic. Here's everything. Here's a vault of all this training, and here you go. Well, that became the equivalent of giving them a blank map with no roads. There was no pathway to success. It was just, here's a bunch of stuff. Figure it out. I had to realize for myself that as much as I was giving them all this knowledge that I had, if I don't simplify it and show them the pathway to how to implement it, no one succeeds. I used to have a program that was like a Netflix of marketing. It was hundreds of videos. And here's the thing, Netflix is great for entertainment, but when people are wanting to learn, they go through a training, they need an outcome. They want a result. They want to see the ROI. So I had to create a pathway for them. Now, I first created a 21-day challenge, and this was my insight. This was my first glimpse into gamification. I created a program that was 21 days, and every day there was, here's an action item, and here's a badge, a virtual badge that you could earn. And people were getting results faster than ever. People were getting FOMO when other people were, their peers were implementing and they'd follow behind. They'd be like, I have to catch up. It was no longer one of those courses that people would buy and forget to log into or not implement. If I give them awards and rewards and gamify and status and badges and boosts, they're going to take action. And what happens when your audience takes action is it creates more engagement, it creates more social proof, it creates more validation for you because they're posting about you and the results that you're giving them. It's incredible. Our audience had so much more success and we had so much more success. And it's because we simplified, we established milestones, and we gamified by giving them incentives, awards, and rewards. If gamification sounds awesome to you and you want to implement this in your training, I've made something awesome for you. I've created the Infinite Cash Flow Blueprint. It's an absolutely free training that lays the groundwork for an infinite cash flow system that explodes your monthly revenue and has the power to effortlessly ascend new audience members all the way into your high ticket offer. Click the link below to get that today.